Story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is a story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Ebulomo Adekunle in our major story. Nigerian Air Force helicopters launches investigation into the crash of a military helicopter in Adamawa. Describes incident as a controlled forced landing. Also in this program, President Goodluck Jonathan assures Nigerians that those behind the death of scores of students in Potiskum would be brought to justice. Lagos residents take protest over flop in the conduct of distribution of permanent voter cards to INEC office. And outside Nigeria, 2 Israelis have been killed in separate knife attacks in Tel Aviv and the occupied West Bank. And now the details. A military helicopter crashed near the NYC orientation camp at Damari in Yola, where displaced persons of recent insurgency are taking refuge. The helicopter had 4 foreign military crew members. There are no casualties recorded, but eyewitnesses say the helicopter was loaded with military hardware and ammunition. 2 other military choppers were seen on the scene evacuating the injured crew members and the hardware on board the helicopter. Earlier, reports had suggested the presence of foreign military personnel in Nigeria who are said to be helping the Nigerian military with efforts to recapture the local government under the control of Boko Haram in Adamawa. The Nigerian Air Force headquarters has launched an investigation into the crash of a military helicopter in Yola, the Adamawa state capital. This is in spite of the military describing the incident as a controlled forced landing in a statement on its website. The investigation, according to the defense headquarters, is to unravel the circumstances behind the incident. It said the helicopter, with call sign Shark 23, was on a training mission when it went down 4 minutes after takeoff at the runway approach end of Yola International Airport. The military added that no casualty was recorded as all the crew members returned to base. Meanwhile, the military authorities have brushed off claims that helicopters ferried the family of the Chief of Defense Staff to safety just before Mubi fell to Boko Haram insurgents. The Defense Headquarters said in a statement on its website that the claims made by an online media is false. It maintained that the helicopter sighted in Mubi was on a mission to reinforce ground troops in preparation of efforts to repel the attack. The Defense Headquarters insisted that the helicopter did not convey any civilian or relation of CDS Alex Bade. It also advised the mass media to beware of lifting stories on the military from online media, which it described as the main channel of disseminating falsehood on happenings in the system. President Goodluck Jonathan has assured Nigerians that those behind the death of scores of students in Potiskum would be brought to justice no matter how long it takes. He insists that a similar fate awaits perpetrators of continuing acts of terrorism across the country. The president also sympathized with grieving parents and the government of Yobe State over the death of over 40 students in the suicide bomb attack on the government science secondary school in Potiskum. Protesters took their grievances concerning the shoddy distribution of the permanent voter cards in Lagos to the electoral body's headquarters in the state on Monday. The promise by resident electoral commissioner Adekunle Ogumola that Lagosians should take him by his words that all eligible voters will get their permanent voter cards before the 2015 general elections did little or nothing to stop the protests. Omatayalo brought back this report.
This is a testimony of the rage that has trailed the permanent voter cards distribution exercise in Lagos from its commencement. None of the original 3 days slated for the exercise has gone without hitches. These protesters were clearly not pleased with the conduct of the exercise. For this human rights activist, Declan Ikere, the country has gone past the era of unfolding and watching events as they unfold.
In as much as we are trying to sensitize Nigerians that election is coming, we are of the view that the extension or the continuous distribution of the PVC should go back to those places that the people actually did the registration. That will go a long way to showcase that INEC is not short-staffed.
The resident electoral commissioner explains the challenges faced by the electoral body and promised a way out when he was confronted by the leaders of the protest.
What we are planning to do in the 11 local governments, after the distribution of the permanent voters card, come Wednesday, we'll start with the continuous voter registration. Meaning that if for any reason you registered in 2011 and your name is not on our electronic voters register, you have another opportunity of re-registering. If you are 18, if you were 18 in 2011, but you did not have the opportunity of registering in 2011, you have the opportunity of registering. If you are not 18 in 2011 and you have matured into the voting age, you have the opportunity of registering. So what it means is that we are going to have a robust registration, right? So that at the end of the day, all eligible voters will be captured on our database.
The explanation did not, however, stop the protesters from arguing their challenges with the resident electoral commissioner.
We have been on the field as a civil society organization monitoring the progress and otherwise of your exercise. And so far so good, we are not satisfied. It's a total dismal.
In my ward, collection of PVC has not taken off as of now.
Honestly, INEC regrets what is happening. It was our intention to showcase ourselves. I think you get it. But I don't want to give excuses. We have regretted it, right? And we are trying to make amends.
The outcome of the decision reached with the electoral commissioner was, however, taken with a pinch of salt by all the protesters, who all the same dispersed with a vow to come back again if their grievances are not treated urgently.
Major information is that registrations and collection of PPC will not stop today or tomorrow. It's ongoing exercise. That when they move away from the polling unit, they will move to the local government. So you go to your ward headquarters, INEC headquarters, to collect your PPC. It's ongoing. They are not going to stop it until February next year. So no negotiation will be decentralized.
Omatayalo, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Despite hitches trailing the distribution of permanent voter cards by the Independent National Electoral Commission in 9 states across the Federation, some civil groups have staged a sensitization forum in Ogun State to enlighten the electorate on the importance of the exercise. Olajumoke Olatuji was in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, and brought back this report.
Ahead the 2015 general polls, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has said one of its major objectives is to have each free and credible elections. To achieve this, INEC came up with the idea of the permanent voter cards in 2013 and the continuous voter registration. The distribution of the PVC, which is ongoing, has been characterized by irregularities, which has also discouraged many Nigerians. Against this backdrop, the Women Arise staged a rally in collaboration with the Ogun State Coalition for Civil Rights to sensitize residents of the state on the need to take part in the continuous voter registration, which commences on Wednesday.
There is time for people who are here to collect their permanent voters card to do so. We are going, this is a litmus test, and we are going to x-ray all that has been happening. And those who are to be blamed, the people of this country, we know them and blame them. But I want everyone, Nigerians, citizens of Ogun State, wherever anyone resides, for them not to be disillusioned. I'm an incurable optimist. I'm so optimistic that this project will not fail. It will not fail when all of us come out to exercise our civic responsibility.
The Ogun State INEC HOD of Operations, Sam Ogunjemilio, and chairman of the Coalition for Civil Rights, Yinka Folarin, both enjoined Nigerians not to be discouraged by the shortcomings experienced during the distributions of the PVCs.
It's a collective work for us as a Nigerian that we must, in ensuring that we endure the democracy. And because of the fact that INEC does not even want to disenfranchise anybody, that is why the second chance of continuous voter registration is being given. If you don't find your name, or you have not collected your permanent voter's card, and you register, but you didn't find your name on the list, you have the second chance.
Nigeria is for the Nigerians. And to have the best, to have the deserved Nigeria, we must all participate, irrespective of the challenges we are facing.
The police in the state also used the occasion to advise the electorate to shun electoral violence and malpractices ahead of the 2015 general elections.
The police will not allow any electoral malpractices. The police will not allow any electoral violence. I said it at the program we had this morning. I said as a figure to INEC was an instrument to me. The total number of polling booths or polling units we have in Ogun State is 3,210. So I now relate it to electoral violence in Ogun State, that over time the thing has been coming down over time in the state. 3210 is telling you we are going to have zero tolerance for electoral violence. We are going to have zero tolerance for political talking.
The sensitization was well received by the electorate and political observers, who commended the organizers for its timeliness. Olajumoke Latuji, CoreTV News.
Registration 12 to 17 November 2014.
The People's Democratic Party has refuted the alleged connivance with INEC to bungle the ongoing distribution of permanent voter cards in Lagos. The allegation, which was made by the leadership of the All Progressives Congress, both at state and national levels, was described as a figment of the imagination of the accusers. Oluwaseyi Adegoke met with the Lagos PDP chairman and brought back this report.
INEC has colluded with the presidency, the opposing party, to rig this election from the data to the end.
That was an enraged APC national leader, Bola Tinubu, who over the weekend described the shoddy PVC exercise in the state as a plot to rig the 2015 general elections. These outright accusations did not go down well with the PDP, as the party's chairman in Lagos brands APC a collection of cheats who are seeking relevance at all costs.
Not only Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu that is complaining, even the governor, whom I didn't expect to complain, also complained. Very sad. They forgot that they had been loading INEC registers with illegal voters. They have a voters register where many illegal names are being introduced. When we were doing analog compilation of lists, they were getting away with it. Now that the INEC is now using computer, some of the duplications, multiple registrations they were doing were exposed, and all these names were thrown out. Why should they complain? They've been compiling these illegal voters' cards in their homes, in their offices, in the backyard. Some were hidden. On the day of election, they distribute them, and they go and give signals to electoral officers so that they can use such ballot papers. All those ones have been rejected by computers, and so the number has to drop. Nobody ever connived with PDP. PDP is a decent party. We have our own weaknesses, but cheating is the second name of APC.
He also did not spare the Lagos INEC as he advised the electoral body to put its house in order.
They can add more time to the collection period, which will eventually help them to achieve the desired results. Election is in February, but they should be good managers too. They should put their house in order.
Shelley attributed the adjustments made to the party's calendar concerning the governorship and presidential primaries as a necessary measure to calm frayed nerves as well as allow for equal opportunities for all.
Well, I think they drew up a program and they realized that it was too tight, it was too close to call, and many other things had to be accommodated. By the time they drew up the timetable, they didn't factor in the presidential declaration, and that one will take some time, and it will be all involving. All of us have to be there, so the program has to be readjusted.
He vowed that the PDP is ready to win Lagos and effect the desired changes that will yield the full dividends of democracy for the people of the state. Oluwaseyi Adegoke, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Tafawa Balewa's son insists he's still in the presidential race. Find out more after this timeout. Don't go away.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes and bleeding from the eyes, ears and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it. Don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News.
Many thanks for being there, and it's still CoreTV Primetime News. Here is a quick reminder of the stories that made our headlines. Nigerian Air Force Headquarters launches investigation into the crash of a military helicopter in Adamawa. Describes incident as a controlled forced landing. President Goodluck Jonathan assures Nigerians that those behind the death of scores of students in Potiskum would be brought to justice. Lagos residents take protests over flop in the conduct of distribution of permanent voter cards to INEC office. PDP presidential aspirant Abdul-Jalil Tafawa Balewa says he's still in the race for the party's ticket, having collected the necessary nomination forms before the deadline. Tafawa Balewa stated this in a chat with CoreTV News in Abuja, during which he maintained that he was under no pressure from the party to step down for President Goodluck Jonathan. He also dismissed claims made by Edwin Clark about his readiness to withdraw from the race for the right to fly PDP's flag at the 2015 presidential election.
I'm still contesting. Okay. What had happened that day was that I was called to Dr. Ike Clark's house. He has been a father to me in particular, but to the nation at large. He is a wonderful patriotic nationalist. So there is absolutely no reason why he will call me and I wouldn't go there. He's one of the very few people that can tell me to jump and I will ask how high. So when Daddy started talking about what the governors are doing that nears avarice, wanting to go to the Senate after 8 years of being governor when they already have pensions and have a lot of perks. What about if the senators that are there are already serving the people well? Later on, he mentioned the fact that I was his son, and the president was his son also, and said he was going to mediate between us to make sure that, you know, whatever rancor is leveled. And that was all. Then some press people, I don't know whether it's electronic or written press, said, what did I think of what he said? I said, everything Daddy said was true. That was it. Those were the only 5 words I said there.
The People's Democratic Party says it has done well in the past 15 years. It also challenged the opposition to a free, fair and peaceful contest. PDP spokesman Olisa Meju said in a statement that President Goodluck Jonathan's declaration for the 2015 presidential election is a boost to the collective aspiration of millions of party members. It added that the unanimous endorsement of the president for a second term by the party is a decision anchored on the need to protect national interests against the backdrop of sectional stance of the opposition. The substantive hearing into the petition challenging the re-election of Governor Rauf Aregbesola of Osun State is finally taken off. At the sitting on Monday, counsel to the People's Democratic Party sought to tender non-certified duplicates of Form EC8A series along with certified true copies. This was objected to by the APC's legal team, which argued that the documents could only be tendered through witnesses in the witness box for cross-examination. The tribunal, Elizabeth Ikpejime, said as directed in the panel's pre-hearing report, CTC document would be tendered by consent through the bar, while every other document would be tendered through witnesses. The councils, however, agreed to the verification of the document.
As to how documents ought to be tendered by consent of the parties are to be brought before the court. So that warranted the counsel to both sides putting heads together to see which documents will be tendered by consent without objections as against those that are going to be tendered, possibly with objections.
The petitioner was to start the presentation of his case, and he started with documents. Now these documents are so many, so it requires that we should sort them out before he can tender them.
The councils also states their positions on the exercise with reference to the 180-day ultimatum to round up the tribunal's sitting.
Documentary hurdle, the way will be very, very smooth for the conduct of the remaining parts of the petitioner's case.
Well, there is really nothing to worry about, you know, in regards to the time we have left. There is sufficient time for us, you see, to get the petition disposed of properly by the tribunal. So this is a vital aspect of the trial, and I do not see it as a waste of time at all.
The tribunal continues on Tuesday, where it is expected that the petitioner will start calling witnesses. We'll take another break now and we return with business, sports and other stories outside Nigeria. Stay with us.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes and bleeding from the eyes, ears and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it. Don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
And now into business. President Goodluck Jonathan on Monday charged African oil-producing countries to cooperate more and work together to overcome the current challenge of falling crude oil prices. Jonathan, in a statement issued by Special Advisor on Media Publicity Ruben Abati at the presidential villa while receiving Angola's new ambassador to Nigeria, Estaquio Janeiro Huibato, says African oil-producing countries must come together and strategize on the best ways of protecting their domestic economies from the glide of fluctuating oil prices, while calling for the expansion of trade, economic, cultural, and political cooperation between the two countries. It says Nigeria and Angola have always had cordial bilateral relations. A former Minister of Power, Bat Naji, has explained why notable multinational power company General Electric has dominated the nation's power sector. Speaking during a conference of national high-flyer education stakeholders organized by TED Fund and Federal Ministry of Education on Monday in Abuja, Naji said the company's huge investments in the nation's economy has encouraged local manufacturing of turbine power equipment, training of local engineers and job creation. He says General Electric was persuaded through a partnership to manufacture some of the imported power equipment in the country, invest in the economy and train local engineers who have become experts to other nations. Naji advised the government to do more by funding research projects to industrialize the country. The federal government on Monday said it had saved 528 million naira on reviews conducted on some projects since 2009 till date. It says the reviews were conducted to ensure that the awards conform to the Public Procurement Act. The Director General, Bureau of Public Procurement, Emeka Eze, disclosed this while speaking at the first National Conference on Public Procurement held in the Presidential Villa, Abuja. Eze says the Bureau had also recommended over 180 companies for investigation, with the lists of the affected firms submitted to the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. He said the offences varied from tax fraud to understatement of turnover. Eze reaffirmed the government's commitment to further strengthen the BPP to continue on its assignment with best practices. Equity transactions on the ninth floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange on Friday ended on a positive note. The NSE All-Share Index appreciates by 0.03% to close at 33,224.84 basis points. Market capitalization closed in the same manner at 11.004 trillion naira. In all, a total of 490 million units of shares valued at 6.9 billion naira were exchanged in 5,470 deals. Nestle PLC topped the gainers chart, followed by Forte Oil, Nigerian Breweries, Total, and Cadbury. On the flip side, Dangote Cement topped the losers chart, followed by Mobil, UACN, CAP, and Okumu Oil. Meanwhile, here are the top 5 trades. And now to sport. Nigeria officials maintain that Chelsea midfielder Mikel Obi, who recently allegedly suffered a knee injury, will have to be cleared by the team's medical staff before he's fielded in the country's must-win AFCON 2015 qualifiers against Congo and South Africa. Nigeria are away to Congo in Pointe Noire on Saturday and then host South Africa on Wednesday at the brand new Akwa Ibom International Stadium in Uyo to round up the qualifying campaign for next year's AFCON. Mikel was listed for Chelsea's weekend win at Liverpool, but was an unused substitute with speculations over his fitness still in doubt. Team media officer Ben Alaya says Mikel will have to be cleared by the medical staff of the Super Eagles before he can train or even play. Mikel, who is expected to join the Eagles training camp in Abuja on Tuesday, last played in a 2-1 win against Shrewsbury Town in a League Cup clash on October 28, where he picked up a knee injury. Ghana Sports Minister Mayama Ayariga says his country would not host the 2015 Africa Cup of Nations. The Confederation of African Football will meet in Cairo on Tuesday to find a new host for next year's tournament or decide on postponing it. Morocco refused to host the finals amidst fear over the spread of the Ebola virus, which has claimed the lives of more than 3,000 people in sub-Saharan Africa. Last month, Ghana was one of the few countries alerted by CAF to consider taking up the hosting rights should Morocco relinquish it. But Ghanaian officials have ruled out replacing the North African country as host for next January's finals. Ghana have bid to host the 2017 Africa Cup of Nations alongside 6 other countries, with the winner expected to be announced at one of CAF's ordinary sessions in 2015. The 2015 Continental Championship is due to take place January 17 to February 8. Nigeria's Vincent Iyama has been shortlisted for the 2014 BBC African Footballer of the Year award, with title holder Yaya Toure, Gabonese star Pierre-Emerick and Yassine Ibrahim among the candidates to win the individual award. The Lille shortstopper is the only goalkeeper nominated following his superb form for the Super Eagles at the FIFA World Cup, Brazil and the French Ligue 1. According to the organizers of the award, the winner will be decided by fans of African football who have until 18:00 GMT on Monday, 24 November, to vote for their choice. The winner will be decided by African football fans, and the winner will be announced on Monday, December 1st, in a live radio broadcast. Javino and Brahimi are the first-time nominees in the lists voted for by 44 journalists across Africa. Austin Okocha is the only Nigerian to have won the award since inception, having finished tops in 2003 and 2004. The five-man shortlist: Vincent Iyama, Nigeria; Pierre-Emerick, Gabon; Yaya Toure, Côte d'Ivoire; Gavez Yao Koisa, Côte d'Ivoire; Yassine Brahimi, Algeria. Australian Open champion Stan Wawrinka crushed to Thomas Berdych for the loss of just 2 games in his opening match at the ATP World Tour Finals. Wawrinka won 6-1, 6-1 in 58 minutes, the most one-sided contest since the season final moved to London in 2009. It is the 5th year in a row that Berdych has lost his opening match at the O2 Arena. World number 1 Novak Djokovic takes on US Open champion Marin Cilic in Monday's late match. Berdych only narrowly avoided a 6-0, 6-0 defeat against Djokovic in Beijing last month, and he endured another humiliation at the hands of Wawrinka in London. The Czech made a dreadful start, firing a forehand wide to drop serve straight away and falling a double break behind a 4-0 after a crunching Wawrinka return. By the time it slipped 5-0 down, Berdych had won just 5 points, and the applause he received after finally get on the scoreboard in Game 6 was largely sympathetic. It was just the helping hand that Wawrinka needed after winning just 1 match since the US Open in September, and the Swiss took full advantage. Berdych was at least fighting to stay in the contest, but could not find any semblance of even average form. A woeful final tally of 20 unforced errors and not a single winner of backhand or forehand told the tale of Berdych's afternoon, while a buoyant Wawrinka had just enough time on court to show off his shot making with 6 winners. And outside Nigeria now, 2 Israelis have been killed in separate knife attacks in Tel Aviv and occupied West Bank. The first attack in Tel Aviv targeted a soldier. A Palestinian from the West Bank city of Nablus was arrested. An Israeli woman was later stabbed to death near the Alon Shvov Jewish settlement in the West Bank. The assailant was shot by a security guard. The stabbings come at a time of heightened tension between Israel and the Palestinians. At the weekend, Israeli Arabs threw stones at police in mainly Arab towns in Israel after police shot dead a young Arab man who had attacked them with a knife. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed to crack down on the violence. And before we wrap up the show, here is a wrap-up of our headlines. We told you that Nigerian Air Force Headquarters has launched investigation into the crash of a military helicopter in Adamawa and described incident as a controlled forced landing. We also reported that President Goodluck Jonathan has assured Nigerians that those behind the death of scores of students in Potiskum would be brought to justice. And finally, Lagos residents took protests over flaw in the conduct of distribution of permanent voter cards to INEC office. That's been the show tonight. On behalf of the entire news crew, I am Ebulomo Adekunle saying have a pleasant night rest.